Stop wasting money on trash! This year, I personally threw away money on 8 out of 10 hyped games. But in this top list, only what I'm not ashamed of. Forget about low-grade crap. We'll show how Little Nightmares 3 saved the series, how Ghost of Yotei surpassed Ghost of Tsushima, and most importantly, why a game doesn't have to be a AAA blockbuster to be a masterpiece. If you're tired of disappointments, this top list will save your nerves. Let's go! Dying Light: The Beast. You know what's strangest? When a game originally planned as DLC suddenly turns into a standalone project and somehow doesn't fail. Dying Light: The Beast is exactly that case. Kyle Crane returns. Yes, that same guy from the first part who many have already forgotten about. And the developers understand this perfectly. So at the beginning, they kindly offer to refresh your memory through special cutscenes with a brief retelling of the original's events. Convenient? Damn convenient! The open world here is compact but packed with activities. Side quests, collectibles, challenges, farming spots. Everything you loved in the second part is still here. True, the story, revenge. Revenge again. Can't get more cliché, I agree. The entire story revolves around preparing for the final battle with the main villain, and the finale resembles Resident Evil so much you want to ask, guys, did you accidentally mix up franchises? But here's what's interesting. Despite the worn-out plot, it's still engaging. Unexpected turns, dramatic moments that bring tears. All this compensates for the template main storyline. And when Kyle transforms into a beast and starts crushing zombies left and right, that's where the real action party begins. 100% completion will take about 35 hours. For a spin-off, that's an excellent result. Downsides? Graphics aren't great for 2025. Optimization limps, bugs pop out like devils from a snuff box. But patches are promised, so we'll wait. The Beast isn't a revolution. It's just a good continuation that delivers exactly what you expect from Dying Light. For series fans, a must-have. For others, depends on mood. Silent Hill F. The plot is the main and best thing in this game. We returned again to psychological traumas, accepting yourself, your future, and the question, what to do next? The plot itself isn't complex, but its delivery is magnificent. Through many images, religion, legends and myths, city history, monsters, and locations. Such weaving of everything happening into the story is rarely seen anywhere. If you like complex plots where everything can flip at any moment and you don't mind thinking, this is a must-have. The developers handled atmosphere and visuals excellently. Locations are beautiful and simultaneously build tension. You constantly feel discomfort. The game is very violent for modern realities. Blood, guts, and other unpleasant things are shown quite harshly. But most importantly, puzzles. Almost all done excellently and differ from each other. Change depending on difficulty and ending. Developers delivered. For me, this was an unusual Silent Hill, but maybe it's time to stop waiting for copying of past parts and move towards something new? Ghost of Yotei. Remember how media buried this game before release? Articles about flop of the year, negative forecasts, hysteria in comments. And the result? 85 to 90% positive reviews on Metacritic and OpenCritic. So much for flop. The action unfolds in rural 15th century Japan, 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima events. The protagonist is Atsu, a lone mercenary haunted by ghosts of the past. Thirst for revenge drives her north to the wild lands of Ezo, now Hokkaido. And here the magic begins. If Tsushima was an island of eternal autumn with golden leaves and warm tones, Hokkaido is the harsh north, where nature can both amaze with its beauty and kill you in a second. Snowstorms, icy winds, frozen rivers. All this looks so photorealistic you want to put on a sweater even sitting at your monitor. Graphics are classic Sony level, polished to the last pixel. Every snowflake, every shadow, every sun glint on the katana blade, everything works to create atmosphere. But most importantly, combat. Ghost of Tsushima had stances for different enemy types, right? Here, Sucker Punch decided to go further and turn the arsenal into a real museum of Japanese weapons. Katanas, naginatas, kusarigamas, bows, daggers, whatever you want. Each weapon feels unique, has its own weight, its own tempo. Yes, the game was made exclusively for PS5, but with Sony's current policy, it might come to PC in 6 months to a year. So patience, PC Master Race. Ghost of Yotei isn't just a sequel. It's proof you can preserve the original's magic while adding something new. If you spent dozens of hours in Tsushima, Yotei will give you new impressions without losing the first part's charm. Chrono, The New Dawn, a game about trying to save humanity from apocalypse through time travel that forms a closed time loop? Sounds familiar? Yes, but the implementation here is its own. The protagonist, the traveler, must figure out why all attempts to change the past lead to the same sad result, again and again, time after time. Visually, it's Soviet panel buildings and Polish factories of the 80s, intertwined with retro-futurism and chilling ideas about time. You explore Eastern Europe after a mysterious catastrophe, collect souls of the past, restore memory. Each collected consciousness changes the environment and pulls you deeper into madness. Atmosphere works at full power. Gray Polish courtyards, entrances, letters of the dead, quiet horror of abandoned apartments, and mutant hollows roam outside, embodiments of human grief and anger. They need not only to be killed, but necessarily burned, otherwise they'll merge into a stronger form. The plot unfolds through notes and environment, gives room for your own guesses and alternative endings. Gameplay is slow, resources scarce. You'll have to choose between bullets and medkits during crafting. Inventory is tight, you can't carry all finds with you. Combat resembles Souls-likes, rolls, parries, finishing moves, but without hardcore difficulty. Chrono, The New Dawn, isn't about hardcore fights. It's about slowly exploring a world where every corner can hold an important detail, and every soul a new layer of tragedy. Mafia, the old country. Before us is excellent Mafia cinema, a good AA game, but no more. And I don't understand people's dissatisfaction. The game initially didn't claim to be a large open world. The story unfolds in 1900 in Sicily. The protagonist is Enzo Favara. The campaign consists of a prologue and 13 chapters, completing which takes 10-12 hours. The plot gains momentum gradually, in the spirit of classic Mafia parts. We start as a simple worker, hauling crates, cleaning stables, helping in the kitchen, gradually earning the Don's respect, the local godfather, and only then are we accepted into the family. The first hours are a whole prologue arc, with chases, shootouts, and stealth missions. Formally, this part is a prequel to the original trilogy, but references are mostly symbolic, noticeable only in a few Easter eggs. The game is ordinary, not a masterpiece, but not a failure. A solid AA project. If you're a fan of the first two Mafia parts, you shouldn't skip this one. Maybe it doesn't reach the first two, but doesn't fall far behind either. Solid average. Can grab on sale. Hell is as imagine a world where Souls-likes meet Metroidvanias, and the main emphasis is not on combat, but exploration. That's exactly what Hell turned out to be. The protagonist returns home to find his parents, but lands right in the epicenter of a civil war. And what he sees there? hanged children, mass graves, violence, racial hatred, all shown without a drop of censorship in the most unsightly form. Human sins literally come alive here. Anger, grief, rage, all materialize as hollow creatures wrapped in smoke. And the creepiest part? These creatures symbolize the real emotions of people who committed all these horrors. The plot is delivered in fragments, more lore, less direct narrative. You don't participate in the war, you observe its consequences. Help people you meet, do good deeds, open new zones. And you know what's wildest? There's no map in the game at all. You'll have to navigate by memory, hints, and environment, like in old Zelda games. Want to find the way? Keep your own notes. Combat is simple. Rolls, parries, drone abilities, weapons with modifiers. Moreover, modifiers not only increase damage, but change the blade's appearance. Nice detail. Puzzles aren't difficult, but very organically woven into the world. Staffs, seals, hidden passages, all part of the environment, not just artificial obstacles. Visually, the game is handmade. Swamp villages, city ruins, destroyed forts, everything looks alive, real. Hell isn't about hardcore combat and loot farming. It's about exploration, about slowly immersing in the war atmosphere, about finding connections in dialogues and landscapes. One of the most unusual adventures this year. Hollow Knight Silksong, a game created with soul, without PR wrapping, without chasing trends, without looking at focus groups. Just an honest author's project that will either hit you completely or not at all. No compromises here. If you've never played Metroidvanias, avoided Dark Souls, and the word platformer causes mild panic, I categorically don't recommend starting with Silksong. Seriously. Better play the original Hollow Knight first. The entry threshold is lower there, the tutorial friendlier, and overall, the game is more forgiving to newbies. But if you decide on Silksong, prepare to suffer. But suffer beautifully. Progression is built perfectly. Everything starts simple and clear, and by the third act, turns into a real exam of all your skills. Each boss is a puzzle where you need to learn patterns, understand weak points, perfect timings. Music! Oh God, the music! During battles, you rarely pay attention to it, too busy not getting wrecked, but listen to the soundtracks separately. They sound completely different. Goosebumps guaranteed. Visuals, story, lore, everything at the highest level. World detail is amazing. Every location thought through to the smallest details. Every NPC has their own story. Every nook can hide a secret. Arguments between hardcore players and casuals around Silksong seem pointless. The game simply won't suit some people, and that's normal. Not everyone has time and desire to grind, memorize boss patterns, explore every pixel of the map. But that doesn't make the game worse. It's just what it is. Silksong isn't an attempt to please the masses. It's a game that stays true to itself, and that's its main strength. Little Nightmares 3 is more of a spin-off than a full sequel. Mono and Six's stories are complete. At most, we might see them as bosses in the future, but the series doesn't revolve only around them, right? The new part expands the universe, shows new facets of the world, weaves additional material into the narrative, and that's really cool. In the Nowhere world, there are other children with their fears, other monsters, completely different locations. Supermassive games took over development, and their hand is felt in every cutscene. The staging became many times more cinematic, sometimes so much you don't understand where the cutscene ends and gameplay begins. And they added co-op. Playing together turned out incredibly interesting. You're responsible for each other's mistakes, but together you think through puzzles and find solutions faster. Co-op is the biggest innovation. Thanks to it, gameplay feels different. Strongly recommend going through in co-op, especially since there's a free friend pass. Supermassive games manage to preserve the series spirit. The game doesn't feel foreign. It's the same Little Nightmares with its mystery, wordless storytelling, overall style. Yes, it's a safe sequel. Nothing radically new appeared, but nowadays that's already baseline. Publishers are interested in success, and the easiest way to achieve it is selling what people already liked once. Metal Gear Solid Delta, a remake of the third part of the cult series and an excellent reconstruction of what once made the original a masterpiece. Gameplay got a great upgrade, and that's the main plus of the remake. Controls became simpler and more pleasant. The camera finally doesn't interfere, and in general, I think that's why the remake was made. Mechanics remain the same: camouflage, stealth, hunting, wound care. This is a case where 2004 game design works perfectly today, especially with such a technical upgrade. The plot remained the same, not surprising for a remake. Visuals pleasantly surprise. Scene staging became more cinematic, graphics more realistic, characters more attractive. Yes, it's not Death Stranding 2 level, but we didn't come for graphics, but to immerse in the game, and, for some, nostalgia. The game handles this excellently. Is it worth getting? For those who haven't played MGS3, an excellent introduction to the series. For those who passed the original several times, a pleasant experience seeing a beloved game in a new form. It's still the same Metal Gear Solid 3, but with modern gameplay and improved graphics. Looks dated for 2025, sometimes reminds of MGS5, but still pleasant to play. Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days. The game passed by many gamers completely undeservedly. The 80s, quiet Texas town Walton turns into a living nightmare. Streets drowned in hot Texas air, screams, and darkness of the dead. You're not a lone hero. You're the leader of a group of ordinary people who yesterday went to work and stores and today hide in abandoned, half-destroyed houses, fear every rustle, and decide who to save and who to abandon. There's no safe haven. Zombies will eventually crawl anywhere. It's only a matter of time. Food and resources run out. Fatigue and fear drive crazy faster than hunger. Every day is a choice between risk and survival. Need to save people from infected quarters, search for resources, water, medicines, tools, craft weapons from trash, and fortify the shelter. Because at night, it will be tested for strength. Stealth gives a chance for a quiet sortie into town. But the slightest mistake or random sound turns the mission into fleeing from the dead. Any loss of characters is forever. No one can be returned. The group's psychological health is on the edge. Breakdowns are no less dangerous than physical pain. This isn't a zombie action movie. It's a story about how hard it is to remain human when the world collapses. The path to survival is full not only of Walking Dead, but moral trials.